class 9 or whoever is watching my video, you can see outside how tremendous violently the storm has reached the coast of Odisha and West Bengal. The storm is Amphan. So it has hit our place of Hooghly district. Right now I am sitting in my balcony and trying to show you how vigorous is the storm. You may be wondering why man is telling all this about the weather forecast here. I am sitting here for telling you something about tissues. Now how is this weather report here? Might be it is misplaced? No, it is not. What I am trying to explain you, that is, I want to correlate about the tissue here with the storm. How? You can see the outside environment. It is totally windy. A huge speed of wind is blowing all around. And you can see one thing you have noticed, I hope, that none of the branches of the plants are breaking. Isn't it? Right? So why it is so? This is only due to the collenchyma tissues in the plant. The collenchyma tissues in the plant help in the flexibility of the branches, that helps in easy bending without breaking. So here I am just correlating that topic. Now this was the previous video that I have already discussed you about the plant tissue. Now today is the best day to tell you about the collenchyma. Now today's video is generally focused on animal tissue. Here I am going to tell you only the epithelial tissue part, as animal tissues are classified into 4 types: epithelial, muscular, connective and nervous. So in today's video I will describe about the types of epithelial tissue. So watch it. I hope you will like the video. My dear students of class 9, here I am with you with a new topic from the chapter tissue. This part is about animal tissue. Now animal tissues are divided into 4 types. Basically animal tissues are of 4 types. They are namely the epithelial tissue. Next come the muscular tissue. The third type of tissue is the connective tissue. And finally the 4th type of tissue in animals are nervous tissue. So the basic 4 type of animal tissues are epithelial, muscular, connective and nervous tissue. Now let me tell you about the different classifications of the various type of tissues. Now epithelial tissues, the term epithelial is derived from a Greek word, means epi means upon and theli means nipple. So it is the simplest type of animal tissue that occur as a protective tissue that covers all the internal as well as external surfaces of the body of an animal. So in other words, you can say that epithelial tissue are covering tissues. So generally these epithelial tissues are again classified into 3 types. First is on the basis of the layer of cell. Second is on the basis of the cell shape. And third is on the basis of the functions of the cell. So these are the 3 types of classification of the epithelial tissue. So first I will describe you on the basis of the layer of cells. So on the basis of the layer of cells, the epithelial tissues are divided into simple and stratified. Simple means here the tissues are made up of single layer of cells. And stratified, which is also known as the compound epithelial, these are made up of more than 1 layer of cells. So epithelial is divided into 3 types: on the basis of layer of cells, on the basis of shape of cell and on the basis of function. So on the basis of layers of cell, it is again divided into simple and stratified. Simple means single layer of cell. Stratified, which is also known as compound epithelium, made up of more than 1 layer of cell. So these are on the basis of layer of cell. Next come on the basis of the shape of cell. On the basis of the shape of cell, epithelial tissues are divided into squamous, cuboidal and columnar. Squamous, cuboidal, columnar. These are the 3 types of epithelial tissues on the basis of cell shape. So next is on the basis of functions. On the basis of functions, epithelial can be divided into 4 types: sensory, germinal, ciliated and glandular. So these are the 4 types of epithelial tissue on the basis of function: sensory, germinal, ciliated and glandular. Now I will describe each one of these tissue later. First let me tell you about the next type of tissue in the animals, that is the muscular tissue. Muscular tissues are divided into three types. So they are stratified, non-stratified and cardiac. Stratified, non-stratified and cardiac, these are the three types of muscular tissues in animal. Generally the muscular tissues support the bones and other organs of the body. They help in locomotion of the limbs. They help in movement, facial expression and various type of contraction of internal organs. So this is about the muscular tissues. Next type of tissue in animals are the connective tissues. Connective tissues are again classified into four types: areolar, adipose, skeletal and fluid connective tissue. Now these are further divided into the four. Again you see these four type of connective tissues are further divided. So first is the areolar tissue. Areolar tissue is again divided into tendon and ligament. Adipose tissue has no such divisions. Skeletal tissue are divided into cartilage and bone, and fluid connective tissues are blood and lymph. So these are the four type of connective tissues. And finally the nervous tissue. Now general functions of connective tissues are to connect the different tissues and organs of the body. They also give support to the muscles in the form of endoskeleton, and it stores fat in the adipose tissue. Transport of various nutrients take place by blood and lymph, and it also provides immunity to the body by lymphocyte cells or macrophage cells. Okay, so these are the general functions of the connective tissue. So these are the four types of animal tissues that we have studied now. Now I will describe about each type of tissues separately. So first of all I will describe about epithelial tissue. So this video is going to be a big one. You have to keep patience to understand the whole topic. Now student, today's topic is about epithelial tissue. So in animal tissue, as you have seen, there are various types of animal tissues. Basically they are again subdivided into various types. So in today's video I will be just describing you about only epithelial tissue. Now epithelial tissue, as you already know, epithelial tissue forms the covering tissue, or it forms the external covering or internal covering of the body organs of any animal. Now what are the general function of this epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue provide protection to the underlying tissue present below it. The epithelial tissue, some of the epithelial tissue even give rise to glands that may secrete saliva, enzyme or sweat. Epithelial tissue also forms exoskeleton structures in animals like hair, feather, hooves and claws. And in alveoli of lungs, epithelial helps in exchange of gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen. Epithelial tissues in the kidney tubules help in the elimination of waste products. So I have mentioned here five functions, general functions of epithelial tissues. There may be much more functions, general functions that may be there. So that are there in fact, but for brief understanding of the topic, I am just telling you only 5 points so that you can remember very well. Otherwise it becomes very confusing for you when I provide lot of information in one topic. So these are the main functions that I have explained in general. Now the next topic about epithelial tissue is types. So what are the types of epithelial tissue? Now on the basis of the layers of cell, epithelial are divided into simple and compound. And on the basis of the shape of cell, the epithelial are divided into squamous, cuboidal and columnar. Now here I am going to describe you about the cell types of epithelial based on the shape, that is squamous. So let me describe about squamous epithelium first. Then I will describe about cuboidal, thereafter about columnar. So have a look about squamous epithelium. So as I told you, here it is about squamous epithelial tissue. Now squamous epithelial tissue can be divided into two types based on the layer of cell. Before going to it, let me tell you the general shape of the squamous epithelial tissue. The general shape of the cells of the squamous epithelial tissues are, they are thin, flat, disc-like, polygonal or maybe irregular. These are the general shape of the cells of squamous epithelial tissue. Now what is the nature of the nucleus of the cells? The nucleus is round and flat. As you can see here, this is the nature of the nucleus, round and flat. And the types, as I told you before, it may be divided into simple if it is made up of a single layer of epithelial cells, and it is stratified, or it is currently called as compound epithelial if there are more than one layer of cells. So stratified and simple, these are the two types of squamous epithelial based on the number of cell layers. Next come the occurrence or the presence. Where are these squamous epithelial present in our body? Now let me first tell you about simple squamous epithelial tissue, their occurrence, and then about the stratified squamous epithelial tissue. Now simple epithelial tissues, which are made up of single layer of cells, they are found in our blood vessels, Bowman's capsule of the nephron, that is the functional unit of kidney, and the lungs alveoli. While the stratified squamous epithelial tissues are found in the epidermis of the skin, the pharynx, the buccal cavity, vagina, anal canal, as well as esophagus. Now let's have a look on the simple squamous epithelial tissue. As I told you, they are flat, polygonal, disc-like or thin, irregular shaped cell. So you can see the cell, the nucleus is rounded and flat, having you can see the cementing substances present in between the two cells. Here you can see in between the two cells there are green color structure I have drawn, that is a cementing substance. Now let's have a look in broad way. Now you see this is the basement membrane on which the cells lie, the cytoplasm, the nucleus, and the cementing substances that I have marked as blue in color. So this is about the simple squamous epithelial tissue. Next I will describe you about the stratified squamous, which are multi-layered. My dear student, this is about the stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium is made up of many layers of cells. So you can see this is an example of human skin or mammalian skin, which contain various strata or layers of cell. I have drawn here many layers. You see the names. The first layer is stratum corneum, second layer stratum lucidium, the third layer with blue cells called stratum granulosum, fourth layer thereafter which is the stratum spinosum, and thereafter the last layer is the stratum bacilli. So you can see how many layers are there in this skin. So skin is the epithelial tissue which is stratified in nature, having more than one layer of cell and protects our various internal organs. Now what are the basic functions of this squamous epithelial? You see, squamous epithelial basically helps in the protection of the underlying tissue. These takes part in ultrafiltration in the kidney tubules, helps in exchange of gases or materials between blood and tissue fluid, helps in exchange of gases in lungs, in the alveoli, and it helps in secretion of the coelomic fluid. So these are the general functions of epithelial tissue. The next type of tissue are about the basis of the cell type. On the basis of the cell type, the epithelial tissues are divided, squamous epithelial are divided into, you can see the squamous is done. So it is the cuboidal and columnar. So next is cuboidal and thereafter columnar. On the basis of the shape of the cell, I have told you already that epithelial tissues are divided into three types: squamous, cuboidal and columnar. So here is the second type of epithelial tissue on the basis of the shape of the cell, that is cuboidal epithelium. Now cuboidal epithelium, the shape of the cells are cube-like. You can see I have drawn here cube-like cells. So the cells are cube-like. Arrangement, how are the cells arranged? The cells are arranged very compactly, and nature of the nucleus is round and centrally located. You see the nucleus are round and they are located in the center of the cell. Now the types of cuboidal epithelial. Cuboidal epithelial are again divided into two types: simple cuboidal epithelium and stratified cuboidal epithelium. So far I have already discussed about what is simple and what is stratified. You know well, a simple is made up of single layer of cell. So in this case, the simple cuboidal epithelial are made up of single layer of cuboidal cells, while the stratified cuboidal are made up of many layers of or more than one layers of cuboidal epithelial cells. Now, where are they located in our body, or what is the occurrence of the simple cuboidal and the stratified cuboidal? Now see, the simple cuboidal are located in the uriniferous tubule, that is the kidney tubule, the thyroid vesicles, in the thyroid gland, salivary gland and pancreatic duct, while the stratified cuboidal are present in the inner surface of the glands like the salivary gland, pancreatic gland, sweat gland and mammary gland. So these are the locations of the simple and stratified cuboidal epithelial. So here is the diagram for the cuboidal epithelial tissue. Now cuboidal epithelial tissue, you see here the cells are generally cube-like cells, okay, and you can see the nucleus is round and centrally located in the middle of the cell, and you can see the basement membrane. Here you can see the basement membrane and the cementing substance are present in between the two cells. So this is about the cuboidal epithelium. Now what are the functions? Now generally cuboidal epithelial, they are present in our gland, the stratified cuboidal. So they help in the secretion of gastric juices, secretion of hormones. They may help in the absorption process, excretion process, as well as they are helpful in gamete formation as germinal epithelial tissue. So these are the functions of cuboidal epithelial. Next type of tissue, the next type of epithelial tissue on the basis of the shape of the cell is columnar epithelium. So have a look on the columnar epithelium. So the next type of epithelial tissue based on the type of cell is columnar epithelium. So what is the nature of the cell of the columnar epithelium? The cells are tall, cylindrical and pillar-like. You can see I have drawn here tall cells which are cylindrical and pillar-like. What is the nature of the nucleus of this type of tissues? In the cell, the nucleus are elongated. You can see they are elongated and located near the base of the cell, near the basement membrane. And what are the free end of the cell modified into? The free end of the cell are modified into the projections known as microvilli. So microvilli is the free end of the projections of the cell, that are the modification of the columnar epithelial tissue. Now here is the function of the columnar epithelial tissue. Now main function is absorption of water and digested food in the intestine. Next is protection of the underlying tissues, and as component of most of the glandular epithelial, it takes part in secretion. So these are the contents of columnar epithelial. Next part is about the type of epithelial tissue on the based on the function. So let me describe about it. On the basis of the functions, the epithelial tissues are divided into two types: ciliated epithelium and glandular epithelium. Now ciliated epithelium are those where the cells may contain cilia on the top. Now columnar and cuboidal, both type of epithelial tissue, if they possess cilia, then they are called ciliated columnar and ciliated cuboidal respectively. Now let us look the occurrence of this type of ciliated cuboidal and ciliated columnar. Now ciliated cuboidal are present in our urinary tubule of the kidney and the sperm duct, and ciliated columnar are present in the nasal cavity, the nasal passage, terminal bronchiole of the lungs, ventricles of brain and oviduct or fallopian tube. Now what are the functions of this ciliated epithelium? Ciliated epithelium mainly helps in the movement of mucus, movement of urine, movement of egg from the ovary to the oviduct, and movement of sperm to the female reproductive tract for fertilization in one direction. Now how these cells move in one direction? This is because of the rhythmic and concerted beating of the cilia. So here you can see the structure of the ciliated columnar epithelium. So this is a ciliated columnar epithelium. You can see the column-like cells. Okay, the basement membrane, the cilia present on the top of the cells. The next type is the glandular epithelium. So this is the last part of the epithelial tissue. So let me discuss about glandular epithelium. Friends, we have come to the end of the epithelial tissue, today's video. So the last part of the epithelial tissue is glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium are present in glands. They are the specialized tissues, the tissues which are specialized to form glands. They are called glandular epithelium. Now this can be present in the lining of the gastric gland, lining of the intestinal gland, pancreatic globules and endocrine glands. So generally they are found in the glands of our body. It may be endocrine gland or exocrine gland. Now what do this glandular epithelium tissue do? What are the functions? The first function is they secrete some chemical substances such as sweat from the sweat gland, oil from the sebaceous gland, or which you can tell as oil gland, enzymes from the exocrine gland and hormone from the endocrine gland. So these are the functions of the glandular epithelium. Next is the sensory epithelium. The sensory epithelium are known as neuroepithelium. Sensory epithelium consists of specialized columnar cell. They are having sensory hair on their free surfaces. Now one of the example of sensory epithelium is olfactory epithelium. Helps in olfaction, that is present in our nasal passage or nasal cavity. Next is the germinal epithelium, is a type of glandular epithelium that is present in the testis and ovary. So these are the functions of the glandular epithelium. Next you can see the picture. This is the diagram that shows the glandular epithelium with the goblet cells present in our small intestine. You know, goblet cell releases mucus. Mucus help in the lubrication of the wall of the intestine. So this is the modification of the epithelial tissue, that is the glandular epithelium in the small intestine. So this was today's topic about the epithelial tissue, and I have told you about the types of animal tissues here. So in the next video, upcoming video, I will be telling you about the muscular tissue. So keep watching my videos and stay tuned. So my dear students, hope you enjoyed the video and understood the topic of epithelial tissue. In the next video, I will tell you something about muscular tissue, connective tissue and nervous tissue. So if you have liked the video, then please put a big like and do share it with your friends so that most of your friends get benefited. And don't forget to subscribe my channel for the forthcoming videos that I am going to upload. Thank you for staying tuned with me.